Welcome to NCHC Between the Boards. I'm Greg Ankers. Coming up in the next 30 minutes as we get you closer to the puck drop of your college hockey weekend, we will take a look back at the last 2 weeks as the second half of the conference race is heating up across the NCHC. Included in that, we'll check in with the Omaha Mavericks as Dean Blaze has his group catapulting into first place of the NCHC race. They're coming off of a bye and looking forward to a key series against North Dakota. We'll preview that series as well as all the others, and they are key across the NCHC this weekend. Before we get to all of that, though, we'll start with our Spotlight series that takes us back to January 16th and 17th, and the theme of this series includes the numbers 1 and 6. 1 for University of Minnesota Duluth as they played host to Western Michigan in their first series at home in 6 weeks. And for Western Michigan, they have only had one loss entering this series in their last 6 outings. Friday night of this crucial NCHC series at Amsoil Arena in Western Michigan, smelling the upset right away. They strike first off the draw here. Colton Hargrove gets credit for the goal to make it 1-0 Broncos. Less than 3 minutes after that, Western Michigan on the attack again, working the power play. Nolan Laporte down low gets the goal to put the Broncos out in front 2-0. In the second, though, Minnesota Duluth would answer. Brendan Kotick with the power play blast here. That makes it a 2-1 game. Then in the third, Duluth would get the equalizer. Justin Crandall going to get the goal out in front here, tipping that one by the goaltender, and that ties things up at 2. Teams would skate through overtime, still tied at 2, so we go to a shootout. Starting with Duluth, Alex Iafallo skating in, fakes going backhand, goes forehand for the goal, put Duluth out in front 1-0. Frederick Tiffels then going in for his shot against Casimir Kaskasuo, and Tiffels gets that one to go to tie things up at a goal apiece. Then last skater, Nolan Laporte going in, makes the deke, goes backhand for your game winner as Western Michigan takes the opener of this one, winning it 2-2 on Friday night and getting the bonus point for winning the shootout in the standings. What would Saturday night have in store? In the first, midway through the period, working a power play, and Nolan Laporte on the rebound effort, going to get the goal here for Western Michigan as they once again jump out to a quick 1-0 advantage. Duluth would answer back sooner on Saturday than they did on Friday. Skating in, Alex Iafallo going backhand top shelf for the goal to tie things up at a goal apiece. We'd stay that way all the way into the third. Here a big save by Lucas Hafner on the whiff by Jared Thomas, and that keeps it a 1-all game. But Western Michigan would jump back out in front on the power play. Taylor Fleming with the go-ahead goal to make it 2-1 Western Michigan. Then Duluth answers back at the other end. Tony Cameronese gets credit for the goal down low. That ties things up at 2 goals apiece. But Western was not done. Colton Hargrove, what a weekend he had. He's going to get the go-ahead goal here on the turnover. Costly, that makes it 3-2. Then Hargrove will add an empty netter as Western Michigan on the road at Duluth grabs 5 out of 6 possible points, winning it on Saturday. 4-2 is the final tally. Coming up next, we'll get back into all the highlights from the weekend of January 16th and 17th, including a Colorado College team much improved but still looking for their first league win. That's next on NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back as we continue looking at highlights from the weekend of January 16th and 17th. We start with Omaha and Colorado College in this segment. The Tigers playing better as of late, but still looking for their first league win. Omaha, meanwhile, enters this series in first place of the NCHC, coming off a sweep against Denver University. And the upstart Colorado College Tigers would strike first in this one in the first period on the power play. Jacob Slavin skating in and puts that one home. Initially ruled no goal, but after review, it did hold. It was 1-0 CC. Later in the period, though, Omaha's Ian Brady trailing on the play gets the goal here to tie things up at 1 apiece. Omaha would then take the lead in the second thanks to Tyler Vessel's goal here. That makes it 2-1 Omaha. But CC would respond just a minute and a half after that. Hunter Fegis in the slot gets the goal here to tie things up at 2. Then CC would grab the lead in the third and add to it midway through. Fegis again his second goal of the game as CC gets their first conference win, upsetting Omaha 4-3 on Friday night. On Saturday, CC carrying the momentum into the first. Scott Wamsgans gets the goal here to put the Tigers out in front 1-0, but Omaha would respond. Avery Peterson going to get the goal in the slot here to tie things up at 1. Then later in the period, closing seconds of the period that is, Peterson comes calling again, charging in. They wave this one off, but again, after review, it's a good goal. Omaha up 2-1, and they'd hit the accelerator in the third. Tanner Lane, the diving effort here, gets that goal to go past the goaltender to make it 3-1, and then the easy one, Austin Ortega on the empty netter as Omaha salvages the split, winning on Saturday night 4-1 the final. Denver and St. Cloud State, a pair of teams looking to get back into the top half of the NCHC race after St. Cloud State took a 1-0 lead in the first. In the second, Gabe Levin down low for the rebound to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. Couple minutes after that, Denver gets back on the board again. Joey LaLeggia, second effort, is good on the power play to put the Pioneers out in front 2-1. Then in the third, Trevor Moore skating in, rips a shot, bounces right out to Daniel Doremus for the goal. That one worth another look. Doremus with the goal from Moore as Denver goes on to win on Friday night, winning this one by the final count of 3-1. St. Cloud State would hope to avoid the sweep on Saturday night, but Denver once again would come out scoring first in the second, still scoreless until Nolan Zajac skating in with the goal there to put the Denver Pioneers out in front 1-0. In the third, still 1-0. St. Cloud State gets on the board. Nick Oliver puts it off the defenseman, and just like that, we're tied at 1 goal apiece. But Denver would answer back later in the period. Danton Heinen with the goal here to put the Pioneers out in front 2-1. Then, working on a power play, Joey LaLeggia rips one from the point, perfectly screened out in front by James Loney. But it does go to LaLeggia as Denver takes a 3-1 lead. Then Trevor Moore wide open on the backside as Denver takes it on Saturday night and gets the series sweep, winning this one 4-1 the final. In non-conference action on the weekend, North Dakota hosting Niagara in what could have been a pairwise killer for UND, but in the first, Bryn Chizik with the goal here, skating in for a 1-0 UND lead. Later in the period, Stefan Patton gets the goal here out in front for a 2-0 UND lead. In the second, working on a power play, North Dakota looking to add to it. Tucker Poolman with the one-timer from the point. That makes it a 3-0 game. And then freshman Austin Pagansky gets on the act. On the rebound here, that makes it 4-0. And Pagansky was not done in the period. He would get his second of the night as UND goes up 6-0. They take the opener in this one, winning it by the final of 7-1. UND then looking for the sweep on Saturday. In the second, no score until Michael Parks gets the goal here to put UND out in front 1-0. Later in the second, on the power play, Mark McMillan down low goes top shelf for a 2-0 UND lead. They were not done in the period. Steph Patton, again, his number gets called on the tip-in from the Keaton Thompson shot from the point. That makes it a 3-0 UND advantage. In the third, then Mark McMillan tapping that one home for a 4-0 lead. And then McMillan and Michael Parks go to work once again. McMillan feeding Parks on the breakaway. That makes it 5-0 UND as they win this one and get the sweep by the final of 5-0. Coming up next on the program, we'll fast forward to the last weekend on January 23rd and 24th as NCHC teams continue to race for the best position within the league standings. That's next. You're watching NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back to the program. A big NCHC series took center stage last week in Miami as the Redhawks played host to Denver. And the two teams are connected by St. Cloud State. Miami, coming off of a bye in their last action, was swept by St. Cloud State. Denver, meanwhile, a week ago, swept St. Cloud in their series. What would take place in Miami? Let's get to the action. In the opener on Friday night, Denver working on a power play in the first, but Miami does not care. The turnover at the blue line ends up on the stick of Riley Barber, and he gets the shorty, put Miami out in front 1-0. In the second, 40 seconds in, Emil Romig gets some revenge for Denver to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. Then in the third, Denver comes out jumping again. Just 30 seconds in, Trevor Moore with the goal to put Denver out in front 2-1. And then with just seconds to go in the period and the game, Moore going to get his second of the night, empty netter style, as Denver goes on to win on Friday night, winning this one 3-1 is the final. On Saturday, Rico Blase hoping his team could jump out again and hold the lead. The first half of his wish would come true in the first. Anthony Lewis going to get the goal here as Miami takes the 1-0 advantage. In the second, Cody Murphy gets the call for the Red Hawks. He gets the goal here, sniping that one in for a 2-0 Red Hawks lead. Then at the other end, Zach LaRaza on the one-timing feed here gets the goal to make it 2-1, but Murphy making a case for Offensive Player of the Week in this series. He gets the goal to make it 3-1 Miami, and Miami goes on to win and get the series split as the puck bounces over the goaltender. 4-1 the final on Saturday night. A red-hot Western Michigan team getting stopped in their tracks, taking on St. Cloud State on the road in the first. Brooks Birch takes this turnover, goes in one-on-one. He's too good to let that happen. St. Cloud takes the 1-0 lead. Later in the period, David Morley going to get the second goal of the night for St. Cloud as they grab a 2-0 advantage. Still in the first, Charlie Lindgren. He had a solid night, making 23 saves in a shutout effort. Into the second, closing seconds of the period, Joe Raycamp going to feed Johnny Brodzinski for the goal. All St. Cloud State, they get the touchdown and the extra point as they win this one 7-0 would be the final. Western looking to redeem themselves on Saturday night. Hostile environment at the Herb Brooks Center, and it would not start good for the Broncos as Patrick Russell gives St. Cloud a 2-0 lead. Then Lindgren misplays it behind his net. Wide open net, but somehow Lindgren recovers and makes the save to keep it a 2-0 game. In the third, though, Western Michigan does break through here on the power play. Will Kessel with the goal to make it 2-1. Then off the face-off, Colton Hargrove with the equalizer to make it a 2-all game. And then midway through the period, Justin Kovacs going to bang this one in as Western scores 3 straight to come back and win and salvage a split. 3-2 the final in that one. Colorado College taking on North Dakota on the road. CC fresh off their first conference win last weekend at home. In the first, CC strikes first on the deflection. It's Alex Roos with the goal to make it 1-0 CC. North Dakota answers, though, at the other end. Mark McMillan working behind the net, stuffs that one in to tie things up at a goal apiece. Then in the third, skating short-handed, but Michael Parks forces the turnover, skating in one-on-one, and Parks wins that battle as North Dakota takes the series opener, winning it 2-1 on Friday night. Zane McIntyre back in between the pipes for UND on Saturday in the first. North Dakota strikes first on the power play. Luke Johnson with a blast to give UND a 1-0 advantage. CC would answer, though, at the other end on a power play of their own. Charlie Taft, the rebound goal here to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. UND then strikes again. Steph Patton off the rebound, sticks that one in for a 2-1 UND lead, but CC wasn't done in the power play either. Again on the power play, Scott Wamsgans winds and fires to tie things up at 2 goals apiece. In the second, North Dakota looking for another response. They would get one. Parks feeding Mark McMillan as UND goes out in front 3-2. Then in the third, Bryn Chiswick skating in. Look at the snipe shot here, blasting that one home as North Dakota takes it 5-3 on Saturday night as they get the series sweep. The North Star College Cup in St. Paul. Bemidji State blanks Minnesota Duluth in the opener 4-0. Duluth outshoots Bemidji 28-26. They lose nonetheless, so they advance to the third place game where they face host Minnesota. In the first period of this one, Adam Kraus gets the Bulldogs on the board, banging that one in down low for a 1-0 advantage. In the third, still 1-0 until Kyle Rao scores here on the power play for the Gophers to tie things up at 1 apiece. But later in the period, Kraus comes calling again. This will be your game winner. The sweet backhand there makes it 2-1 as Minnesota Duluth gets third place in St. Paul. Coming up next, the Omaha Mavericks have charged their way into first place of the NCHC. We'll catch up with the Mavericks on the other side of this break as they get ready for a big series as they host North Dakota. That's straight ahead on NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back. The recent play of Omaha has catapulted the Mavericks into first place in the NCHC standings. They're coming off of a bye from last weekend as they get ready to host a pivotal series against North Dakota this weekend. Let's catch up with Dean Blaze and company and find out the secret of their success as of late.
Coming in, we weren't picked to be one of the best teams in the conference because we had a lot of young guys, and I guess that kind of gave us a little fire inside to prove people wrong.
We got the 11 freshmen, and they've done it. They came in and done a really good job so far, and everybody just keeps getting better each week, and that's making a big difference.
Have 10 freshmen in the lineup at times and winning games. A lot of times those 10 freshmen can play, but they're not the ones that make the difference in the game, and they have been this year. So we're quite fortunate that we're young in a way, but they've been adding a lot of production.
We have great leaders on our team, and they've showed us the way that things should be run around here with just hard work and priding ourselves every day, coming out and practice, working as hard as we can, and so I think that's really helped lead to the success so far, the chemistry of the team.
We've bonded a lot since the summer actually when we first got going, and I mean it's one of the tightest teams I've been on. I can honestly say that right now. I mean, I play on a lot of teams, and halfway it already feels good.
The locker room's good, the leadership is good, and from that point on, you've got a chance to have a successful team.
We put ourselves in a pretty good position here in the first half, but then again, that's just the first half. We got to be consistent on special teams. We've sort of been off and on. Our power play hasn't been great. Penalty kill was good. We haven't been great lately. Our past couple of games, we've been letting up too many goals, and you can't do that, especially in our conference where a lot of games are one-goal games. That special team's a huge difference maker.
With the way the game is called right now, there's not a lot of holding and hooking and interference you can get away with. So, it starts in the offensive zone. Our transition from offense to defense has to be better, and picking up people and recognizing that all the way back into the dangerous areas.
We tend to not come out strong at the beginning of the game, and we're usually battling back in the third period, trying to come back. And that's probably one thing that I'd like to see us do better, is just to come out stronger and help our defensive play and our goalie back there a little more.
I talked to the other seniors, and we've got 7 weekends left. After every weekend, that's a few less games we have in this jersey. And we really just, it's crazy to think that, I almost look at the clock and that's counting down my ticker of my career here at UNO. And it makes for something special. It makes every game that much more important. And, I look forward to every single night playing with my teammates.
We love how we got the rest of our games are NCHC, so couldn't complain with that, and it's going to be really competitive, and we'll probably have that playoff type hockey, so I mean, we're looking forward to it.
Obviously there's a lot of top 10 teams that's coming up that we're going to play, and it's huge for our standings right now. So we know what we have to do, and it'll be a really fun series against all those teams.
It's sure to be a good one down in Omaha this weekend. When we come back on the show, we will check in on the latest NCHC standings and see who's chasing Omaha as of late. We'll also take a look at the latest pairwise rankings and set the table for an exciting weekend of NCHC hockey. That's next on NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back as we get you closer to the puck dropping on all of the college hockey action that is to come this weekend. Let's get you caught up on all the latest league news and notes over the last couple weeks, starting with the NCHC Bauer Players of the Week. Starting back on the week of January 12th, offensive honors went to Colton Hargrove from Western Michigan, who had 3 goals and an assist versus Duluth. For the second time this season, defensive honors belonged to Joey LaLeggia of Denver. He had 2 goals and 2 assists in a sweep over St. Cloud State. It's back-to-back rookie honors for Avery Peterson from Omaha for his 1 goal and 3 assists at Colorado College. And goaltender honors belong to Tanner Gillette of Denver for his 44 saves on 45 shots in that sweep against the Huskies of St. Cloud. More recently, this week's honors for the week of January 19th belong to, for the second time, offensive honors go to Cody Murphy from Miami. He had 2 goals and 2 assists just in Saturday's game against DU. Defenseman honors go to Keaton Thompson from UND. He had a +3 rating and 2 blocks in a sweep over Colorado College. And for the second time this season, rookie honors go to Patrick Russell from St. Cloud State. He had 2 goals and 2 assists in a series against Western Michigan. And goaltender honors go to Charlie Lindgren of St. Cloud State. He had a 1.52 goals allowed average and a .936 save percentage versus Western Michigan last weekend. Checking in on the pairwise, and the theme this week in all the rankings are 5 teams from the NCHC and 4 in the top 10. Starting with the pairwise, North Dakota and Omaha. As their series gets ready to get underway, they sit 2 and 3 respectively. Minnesota, Duluth, and Miami are at 7 and 8, and Denver checks in at number 11. In the USCHO.com poll, again, 5 teams featured here with 4 in the top 10. North Dakota sits atop with 34 first-place votes. Omaha sits 5, Minnesota Duluth is 7th, Miami 9th, and Denver checking in there as well at number 11. The USA Today poll looks very similar. North Dakota in first, picking up 21 first-place votes. Omaha is 5th, Minnesota Duluth 7, with Miami at number 8. Denver checks in on that poll at number 12. Looking at the NCHC standings, we've mentioned it throughout the broadcast. Omaha currently sits atop the standings with 29 points. North Dakota, though, just a point back heading into that big series this weekend. And these standings are quite reflective of the way these teams have been playing as of late, and also key to note that most of the teams have all played the same amount of games, so this is a true reflection on where teams stack up. Minnesota, Duluth, and Miami are clipping at the heels of Omaha and North Dakota as we head into this weekend. We want to remind you our next show will air on Friday, February 13th. Until then, enjoy the games. We'll see you next time on NCHC Between the Boards.